Digital Service Squad marketing webinars. And I think you all know Jason and Anthony from Winged Whale. And I think there's a few people that are new to today's to the marketing workshop. So I also wanted to welcome Abdella. And I'm just going through the list here. Is that Karen Darling? Hi, Karen. And then there's another person, Monga. Sharon and Sportball Brampton. Okay, so I guess welcome everybody. And Jason, you guys are going to be talking about SEO, right? Today's topic.
SEO and ad buy.
And what?
Ad buy.
Okay, great. Sorry. Okay, so welcome, and I'm going to hand it off to you, Jason.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. I would love to know, like the new people that are on, I'd love to know how they've heard about us, simply because if I don't recognize you, you're more than likely not in the BIA, maybe. I'm not sure. So that would be great. If you want to just throw in the chat how you heard about this, that'd be great for us to kind of get some feedback on. But otherwise, no, we're excited to keep doing these workshops. And if there's anything we can help you with during the presentation, by all means, just shout out a question. And then after the presentation, we're around throughout the week. If you need help with anything, to get in contact with us, our information is at the end of the presentation. And if you miss it there, by all means, ask Susie or Tegan if you need help getting a hold of us, and we can help you with that with some of the businesses, some of these aspects anyways. So other than that, Anthony, you want to run it?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Jason. So I'm going to share my screen right now. Let it process. There we go. So yeah, as Jason said, this week's webinar is going to be in regards to Intro to SEO and how to buy ad space. So we'll be going through some programs to help you out with all this kind of fun stuff. And next week, we'll be focusing on image editing software. And the week after that, we project management software. And then the final webinar will be for any kind of email marketing services that you would need. So for this week, we're going to go into a deep dive of SEO. So what it is, how can you implement it into your business, and what are some actions that you can start to do today to start improving your search engine optimization. We'll also provide a demo of softwares to help you guys out to help with your SEO, rather than just finding keywords on your own end, as well as, which is the meat of the webinar, so to speak, would be the ad buy demos. So we're going to be going over Google Ad Buy, the user interface of that platform, as well as Facebook's and Instagram. And we'll have some further resources for each of you moving forward to help you guys out with SEO and overall e-commerce of your business as you guys try to move to expand it. So the biggest question really is, what is SEO? So search engine optimization is really the idea of understanding how search engines work, what kind of algorithms they use to really recommend certain businesses and certain search queues. So what that means is whenever you go on Google and you search up anything on that search engine, or Bing or Yahoo, you'll have a list of search queries that pop up on your screen. So the question of SEO is, how does the search engine really determine who appears first, second, third, and so on and so forth? That is the science. That science behind that is SEO. So SEO is really important because depending on how strong it is, it'll dictate how much organic traffic you'll get towards your site or towards any kind of other e-commerce outlet you have for your business, including your socials and any kind of outlasting assets. When I mean organic traffic, that means free traffic. That means people who search up your keywords, and then your site or your asset pops up on the search engine results page. And then from there, they can access your site and see what you're about, and hopefully that'll be converted into a transaction or whatever goal that you've already planned out in your strategy. With organic or free traffic, you don't pay for each click, right? You only pay for the clicks that you get when you are paying or doing ad buy. So that's the biggest thing that you want to take away from that. SEO is your free way of getting more traffic.
And I just want to add in there, and I'm sure you guys have heard this before, but it's pretty much a well-known fact now, and I think it was in a presentation done by Google. I'm not 100% sure. I don't remember anymore. It was a while ago, but basically the guy who was presenting, he just asked, where's the best place to hide a dead body? And he said on the second page of Google, right? Nobody goes beyond the second page of Google, so nobody will find this dead body. And so if your business is not before the second page, you're more than likely not going to be found. And that's why SEO is so important. We need to make sure that your businesses are ranking, on the first page or at the very top of the second page. Otherwise, you're less likely going to be found.
Exactly. And more specifically, the first page should be your bare minimum when it comes to appear in SEO. I'll go more into detail about it in the next few slides. But right now, an example of a screenshot of a search engine result page, as you can see, as Google or Bing is this. And as you can see, all of your paid reaches are in the very top and is highlighted as ad. So when you're doing a Google ad buy and you have a Google campaign going on, this is where you'll appear. Otherwise, your organic and free reach will appear here, where your SEO gets put into account with Google's algorithm, and depending on how strong that value is, it'll come first or second. The biggest thing to note is you're going to hear me mention throughout this webinar today a term called above the fold. This is a term that's key for basically referencing what users see on their screen. So above the fold means whatever the results or whatever they see on the page without the user having to scroll down. So we mentioned how second page, the dead body analogy, that is very true. But if you want to really optimize it, you not only want to be on the first page, but you want to be above the fold, which is, as you'd see, this screenshot here. I'll provide a more detailed illustration of what that means later on. So in terms of how to implement your SEO into your business, there are two main types. One of them, which is the on-page search optimization. This is more so the back end of your site, and this would require some backtracking and test running. So one of the things to look out for is your speed. So a lot of businesses might want to put on some flashy animations and a lot of GIFs and videos and pictures, and that's really good. In fact, we encourage you to have photos and different types of media than just text. But you have to also keep in mind that the more of these medias you input into your website, the longer it'll take to load your page on the person's phone or the person's desktop, right? So the less loading time for your web page to load up, the higher Google will rank your site. Another thing is mobile friendly. With smartphones coming up for the last decade or so, even right now, as of early 2021, Google's algorithm heavily orientates to a mobile first approach. So another thing that you can do is make sure that you check how your site looks on a smartphone, and you might want to see, was it easier to navigate or harder to navigate, and what are the stucks and strengths and weaknesses on that front. The last thing as well is security, and this goes double, triple for sites who are looking into getting like any kind of online transaction or an online store. A secure site is a credible site. So you want to make sure that you have firewalls set up. You have to make sure that your DDSL is set up, all that kind of fun stuff. If you need help setting it up, you can definitely reach out to your respective's web management platform support, and they'll look into that as well as your settings. But make sure it's secured, especially if you're running an online business. So if people put in their credit card information, that they know it's secured. Just a reference to the image to the right here, this is just an illustration of what I mean by less loading time, the better. So giving you some hard numbers, essentially you don't want your site to take longer than 3 seconds to load. If it takes, and as it takes longer than that, the number of people that will abandon their approach to enter your site will increase exponentially. So the name of the game here is to reduce that speeding time. The second type of SEO kind of optimization is content optimization. So this is the stuff that you can do for your site and for your assets today. So number one is titles. So you want to ensure that your meta titles, taglines, and descriptions all include keywords that users would search. I'll go more into detail of what meta titles are, But essentially right now, any kind of taglines, subtitles, and titles and little descriptions, you want to have all the keywords that you would suspect users or your niche market would search up and have that there. The second one is content copy. And what essentially that is that you basically want to ensure that you have quality and credible content that can benefit the user. Because at the end of the day, users go onto search engines to find a solution to a particular problem. You want to show Google that your website provides that solution to the problem they're searching for. The clearer that you provide this context, the higher your ranking will be. Then the third one is rich content. So this is back to what I said about having more diversifying content and just text. So making sure that you have, some videos, you have some pictures, you have a lot more things that come out of it as well, including internal and outbound links. More on that later as well. And as the last one is internal linking. So Google's algorithm looks into how many internal links you use, how credible and how relevant those internal links are. This is just to the algorithm tracks that to see how authentic your site is, as well as seeing if the links will go to another page. So what you want to do is internally link it. Means that you want to basically link your homepage to a contact us or a homepage to an online store, and the online store links to your FAQ page. That's all in the realm of internal linking. So some actions to take that you can take right now. I provide 7 examples. There are countless amount of actions you can take, but these are the 7 that you want to take away from this webinar today. The first one is you want to optimize your site for mobile and desktop platforms. So that includes loading time and above the fold. I want you guys to take a look at the middle picture here. This is what I mean by above the fold. So you see in this illustration, the laptop, it shows your home page, but then it shows the illustration of the bottom of your home page as if you were to scroll down. This is what above the fold means, meaning not only for your SEO, you want to be in this section of when the page first loads in Google or Bing. When it comes to your website, you want to make sure that when people see everything here that's above the fold, they should be able to get what your business does and everything that makes your business stand out in this section right here. Okay, and that's the most important thing that you can optimize. The second thing is about ensuring all images on your site are good quality and have alt text. So the main thing about good quality is for 2 reasons. Number one is to ensure that it's presentable. Google will see and look into the resolution and quality of images. If it's unclear, it won't rank your website as high. Also, as well, the better the image, the offside is you want to make it optimized. So you don't want to notice how I said good quality, not best quality, because you don't want to trade better resolution for faster loading time. Like, there's no point of having a 4K resolution image if a 1080p will work. Having alt text. So alternative text is, if you guys look at the right image here, is what this is. So alternative text is just another section of SEO that covers it. So SEO, one of the factors that Google and other search engines take in is how accessible is your website. So alt text is a set of code that basically people who are visually impaired or have text-to-speech or are text browsers can actually read out what each of those images do to the user. If you don't have an alt text, it won't read anything, and this can affect your readability and your accessibility for your website. So you want to ensure that all your images have alt text. Number 3 is you want to set up a blog for your website. There are so many reasons to set up a blog. You might not think that a blog is relevant to your particular business as a BTV or BTC, but I strongly encourage that you guys set up a blog for multiple reasons. Reason number 1, it shows that you're an expert in your industry. That means you are basically putting yourself in a position where you're saying, I am the source of your solutions to any of your problems relative to my scope of work. Another thing as well, blogs are a really easy medium for you to just put a bunch of the keywords that you need onto your website. Not because you have to, but because as you're making articles and content relevant to your industry, you're going to already include the keywords as you're articulating yourself in these texts. And that's why those are the two main reasons why it's really important. And then you can play around with the creativeness of how you want to showcase your blog's page, what to write about. There's a lot of things that you can do with that. Number 4 is constantly updating content. So you really want to just update any kind of content. So especially with COVID-19, I've noticed not even businesses in the downtown Brenton BIA, businesses in Mississauga, where I'm at right now, they haven't updated their hours on their website or hours on their Google My Business to adjust to COVID-19. And then when you're calling them, they're not even there, even though it's opened. That's not a good thing, because then that can lead to a negative review. That can lead to negative, reactions. So just make sure to always update your content. You also want to connect your socials to your site. This is a really big example of what outbound links are. So in the previous slide, I talked about internal links, which is basically you putting in the same, linking your pages within each other. Outbound links are just you linking to other links that are beyond your domain. So this is a very clear example of an outbound link, which leads to my 6th point. And the 7th point is optimizing meta tags and descriptions. This is what I mentioned in the previous slide, what a meta tag, title, and description is. So if you notice on the bottom left side of your screen, those are what a meta title and meta description is. So when we go into detail about the Google ad buy and all that kind of fun stuff, you'll have an opportunity to edit your meta title and meta description. That's where you want all your keywords, and you want to have, you want to be as direct as possible as to what you provide, because Google will flag that in their algorithm. Before I move on to Yoast, the new program, are there any questions about SEO and any actions to take? Okay.
And I just wanted to see if I can get you to clarify something. Where can people go to get information on appropriate keywords? If people aren't sure how people are finding them or what they're searching, where can people go to get that information?
That is 2 slides from now.
Okay.
We'll get to that in 2 slides. So with Yoast, this is originally a WordPress plugin. So if your site is running on WordPress, there's absolutely no reason for you to not have Yoast as a plugin right now. So if you have WordPress, I strongly encourage you to install it today. Otherwise, if you're on Shopify or GoDaddy or any other kind of hosting website platform, it's completely fine. They also are available in a web browser. So it took a bit of digging, but I was able to find it, and I will go to it right now. So this is what Yoast, the page looks like. Originally, there are no texts. I've just preemptively put some text in here for you to kind of showcase what it does. But originally, what would happen is when you first appear on this page, the text box would be empty and all this stuff would not be here. You would have to input your SEO title. Your slug would obviously be your website and your description. So really what this is you can use this for any kind of content for your web page. It was originally built for blogs. And what you would do is you would basically copy and paste your blog content onto this text box. And then it'll basically run an SEO audit on your content, seeing keywords and whatnot, based on the keywords that you provide here. So then it will flag it and say you have yellow, which is like good, not great. So from here, you want to kind of look down. We're going to get back to this part later. These are your assets. So it provides you with live feedback as to what you need. So in terms of an SEO title, this stuff here is all about what I inputted in this section, which is your snippet. So your snippet preview here is basically what you would want to show on your Google ad buy. So your SEO title is your meta title. You want to include all your SEO words. Notice how it's green here. If I were to take this out and I were to say hello world, you see how it's orange? It's saying it's not good, you gotta change it. And then it goes to green because I have all these keywords. I have digital marketing, guide, photographies, etc., etc. In terms of the meta description, this is what would appear on Google when someone's look at it. And the preview is provided here. Again, notice how it's green. If I change it, same thing. It'll go from orange as well. So as you're typing things out, it'll actually give you a live, live status of how good it is. In your slug, again, like I said before, you want to input your website here. So all of this info here and this top part is feedback on your snippet. What's good, what's not good, what's great. So here I'll say focus keywords on going as an SEO title. I'm pretty sure it's a bug because I have literally digital marketing and photography in my title, digital marketing and photographer. So from there, I know this one's good. Focus, and you can kind of go through the rest of these and kind of look at what things you need to change. And as you change them, these statuses will go from red to orange to green. In terms of content assessments, this is basically looking at what you're put in your big text box above here. Okay, and the biggest one to look at is also run-on sentences. Personally, that's been my biggest Achilles heel. Is I have a lot of thoughts to put into my blog, and it ends up being like a 3-liner, 1-sentence thing. That's not good for SEO. So I'll flag that, which is on terms of how easy it is to read. There are certain sentences that it contains, how many words, and how many transition words, and a tone. So it provides all that analysis for you. If you have a WordPress plugin, as you're typing it in WordPress, it'll automatically provide you with these kind of options on the right side of your toolbar. I don't have a WordPress website. I've done it for previous clients in the past, so I've done it before. So it's on the right side of your toolbar there. But that's Yoast, and this is how you kind of assess your SEO score before you post. Any questions on Yoast before we continue? Okay.
I have a question.
Yep.
If I'm a visual artist, so everything is paintings, is there any way to, you know what I mean? That it's not really text.
Yep.
So what would you suggest there?
So in terms of painting, there's probably, I'm not a painter, obviously, but I've helped a lot of other different industries that I had relatively no experience in until I put my foot in there. From my experience, what you would want to do is you want to look at key term words that are relevant to the art industry and specific to what kind of paint you have. Is it a contrast paint? Is it a watercolor paint, pastel?
And I understand that on the blog, but what about on the website? Like that doesn't really pertain when it's visual.
So you want to include those keywords in your website. So you want to have those texts on your website saying like, oh, this is what kind of art or whatever. There's a set of keywords that you can use, and I'll showcase that in the next program that can kind of select what kind of keywords you want to use for an art business, for example. Another thing that can help is alt text. It's going to be difficult to put alt text in art because art is very abstract. It's not subjective. So that might be a bit difficult. So that's an exception to alt text, I would say. But aside from that, I'll showcase it to you on WordStream. It's a good question. So WordStream is an online advertising management software that allows you to determine what Google AdWords you should use when you're doing your ad campaign. This can also double to help determining what keywords are relevant to your business to begin with, right? Because the Google AdWords for determining what keywords for your ad are the same keywords Google uses to see for your value for organic free traffic. So WordStream is free use. There are paid options as well that can help you with more hands-on support and creative solutions like pop-up creators and advisors to help you out. So in terms of keywords, this is how it looks like when you first enter the web link. So here for like arts, what you would do is you'd input your art website here. You'd choose your industry and go from there, like arts entertainment, and enter your location. For our example's sake, I'm going to use Winged Whale Media. We're going to do travel and tourism. And then we're going to put Ontario, Canada. So then you can change those queries based on your industry, your website, and your location. So then you wait for this to load up. And what will pop up essentially are a series of keywords that it basically draws from your website and what is relevant to your business. It will also determine the search volume, so how busy each of those search results are, and your CPC, which is your cost per click. So cost per click is the value of how, basically, if you were to put in $100 into Google Ads, how the $100 gets spent out. So your cost per click is how it comes away from that budget. Every time someone clicks your paid ad, that's how much it costs you. So depending on what keywords you use, it might cost more, it might cost less. Notice how the competition status of high to low is relative to how expensive these keywords are. So this is how you kind of see what kind of keywords stand out, what kind of keywords you need to use for your business. Do you give it for Google? Do you give it for Bing as well? Primarily, on my experience, Google is the one you want to look at the most. As you see, most people use Google, which is represented by the cost per click on Bing versus Google. You can change these queries as much as you want, but this kind of gives you a good idea of what kind of words you'd need for your website and for your Google ad campaigns. I'm going to reference the term Google ad groups later, or ad groups later. They're basically, an ad group is a group you make where you associate a bunch of keywords for your Google ad campaign. So how you can collect your keywords is by running through WordStream and finding the keywords here that are most relevant to your business and industry, and then typing it into Google, which I'll show you later on where, and then highlight all those keywords into an ad group. But that's WordStream. Any questions about WordStream before I continue?
I just wanted to say, when you look at that, it really gives you an opportunity to kind of take advantage of keywords that you may not necessarily be thinking about. So if you can you go back to that, Anthony? So down below VR market, right? Where did it go? VR market. Cost per click is 1 cent. Competition is high, right? But if it's only going to cost me 1 cent to participate in that, that might be something that I utilize in a campaign, and I'm kind of getting in there for the cheap, right? And so I can really kind of utilize that, right? But I might want to do something like VR app, which is 80 cents versus $1 or $2.24, right? So it really gives you an opportunity to kind of scan and find little, loopholes that people might be competing on, that you might be able to, look at and say, you know what, maybe I'm not going to compete on that one. I'm going to go after this other segment that's really relevant to me, but isn't going to cost me very much.
Yeah, so like Jason said, this is a good basis as to generally how much it would cost. When we go through our demo on Google Ad Buy on that platform, it'll provide you a live rate rather than the estimate here. But this is a good gauge of like, where should I start to look into for Google Ads? Primarily, you want to focus on what keywords you have here that are high that you don't have on your website. And that's how it would work for your business. Okay. So ad buy, how does it work? So ad buy across platforms, Google, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, they all work off an auction system. So this is a very simplified definition of ad buy and how does it work. So your ad essentially competes with other relevant ads from other businesses for the ad space every time a user is on their platform and selects and has the pre-select and searches the pre-selected keywords. So each platform has its own variables to determine how likely your ad will be placed. We'll go into detail about those variables in each of the sections prior to each demo. But essentially, the auction event is triggered every time you search a keyword that matches or is relevant to your ad, and your ad will appear if you win that auction. So if Google Ad Buy, how it works is, like I said before, is an auction event. To win the auction, you need to optimize two variables, your quality score and your bid amount. So the more optimized these two factors are, the higher chance your ad will show up and the better your ad positioning will be. So in this example on the top right here, you can see that Conrad's ranked first in ad positioning, and then Noah's digital marketing agency is ranked second. So this is based off of their quality score and bid amount. Some pointers to help improve your quality score, which is just Google's generic term for the value of your ad. They look at the relevance of your Google campaign ad to desirable searches. So this is how hot or how competitive your keywords in your ad group are. How relevant your ad is to your landing page. So then it looks at your website and compares your ad to your landing page. It compares the relevance of your ad to your ad group, which I mentioned before, and I'll mention more later. The historical click-through rate of that ad and its respective ad group. So CTR is click-through rate, which is essentially the percentage of people who have seen your ad and versus those who have clicked and actually interacted with your ad. And the final factor is the overall historical account performance and page performance. So that's where the organic free traffic performance kind of comes into account. We're going to go over Google Ads right now. So let's show this page. Second. Do you guys see Google Ads new campaign?
What is it that?
Jason, do you see it?
I see it, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So essentially when you click on that go on Google Ads and you sign in, this is the first step that you take. Before we go anywhere else, I want you guys to look at the top right corner of your screen here. If you see those 10 digits on the top right, so if you have any problems whatsoever with Google Ads or you have no idea where to start, the first thing support will ask you is to provide that 10-digit number, okay? So you want to make note of that, and you want to know where to find that when support asks that for you, and that's how they kind of find your file. So make sure you know this is your Google Ads account ID, okay? So right now, when you first start, the first step is you want to determine what your main advertising goal is. You can select whichever one that is applicable to you. For us, let's say we want to get more calls. So we select that one and we hit next. So next, you want to give your business a name. So we'll just do Winged Whale. Yeah. Hit next. And then our website. So now it's analyzing your website. It's going through your keywords. It's going through what you're about, previous performances, everything I talked about. It's going to provide it here. So here's the ad that's presented on Google Ads. This is the mobile preview, and this is again why I said making sure your website is mobile friendly, because otherwise you don't want your ads on mobile look really awkward. This is your desktop version of what it sees. So now it's time to write your ad. So now in headline 1, you just play around with whatever kind of words you want to input here. And this is where you want to really go through Yoast and WordStream to determine your keywords and how to articulate your keywords in a very SEO healthy sense, right? So we'll just put here, obviously we're not going to write the whole ad right now, but this is, you can kind of see where things change. Right. So it gives you ideas as well. So it kind of pops up in preview here, and you kind of get the idea, right? You can change the number here to show, and you have a preview here to see how it looks. So this is where you add your keyword themes to match your ads to search. So keep in mind here that right now we are not in we are in the generic mode. There's another mode at in the first click. The page I was first at, I forgot to go over, was a very small option on the bottom called expert mode. It'll come up later, and I'll show you it once we get there. But essentially, if you're more tech savvy and you want to be more surgical with your ads, you want to switch this over to expert mode. This is a very simple way of doing your ads. So you can select your keywords here. So you have video production services, videography, television production, all this kind of fun stuff. We can add virtual reality, and we can add a new one, digital marketing. Okay, you can add as many as you want. This is what you would call your quote-unquote ad group, and it'll show up later on in your Google Ad campaign interface. So now you can be surgical about where you want to basically show your website. So basically, how wide of a radius do you want to show it? So you can kind of play around with it. How many people do you want to go to show in that radius? Or you can advertise in a specific postal code or region. So Brampton only or Brampton, Mississauga. You can kind of play around with that. So let's just say, for our sake, I want to hit advertise near an address. Actually, no. We're a digital. We want to do this one instead. So it depends. So notice how I changed from advertise near an address to a specific one. This is where you can kind of think about it, right? So if you're like a BTC, if you're selling like products, you primarily might want to focus surgically and advertise near your address, so people can drive there, you can pick them up. But because we're a BTB, we do digital marketing, we can help people from across the country. We don't need to this, or even beyond. We don't need to help people specifically in this area. So then we can target those people accordingly, right? So I can even target people in Toronto, Ohio if I wanted to. And that's how you can kind of play around with that. So next, you set a budget to get the results you want. So this is kind of where you use your grant funding and determine how much you want to spend. And it kind of gives you how much it is per month and how many clicks on average you'll get each month. So I would recommend going with the recommendation they said for you. But if you know and you've played around with it and you know that a different value is ideal, you can change it enter your own budget and play around with this bar here and set it your own way. Okay? So for our example, we'll just go recommended and hit next. So right before to review it, it gives you one last chance to look over your campaign name, your goals, all that kind of fun stuff, your keyword themes, everything here that you've already inputted. Just make sure to double check it. If you need to change anything, just select the little bend icons to edit them and then come back.
Just to reiterate, Anthony, it was $13 a day for the kind of cutoff for getting a Google campaign rep with you.
Yes, $13 a day.
Right. So that option doesn't show up there if you wanted to do just 13, but you can do it in the scroll bar. You can set it so that you're at $13, and then you'll have access to a Google campaign rep through us. Yeah.
Next, so here's where you enter your billing information. For my sake, I've already inputted information, but basically you fill all the stuff out and you agree to it. And once you fill all this information, you hit submit. And I'm going to share to you guys what it looks like after you hit submit. So once you hit submit, you'll be brought to this kind of interface. Now, it looks really overwhelming. This is a really, really elaborate kind of... Hold on, give me a second. This is a really elaborate kind of breakdown of how your campaign ads are going. So here you can see your overall impressions, which is how many people, how many screens it's popped up on, your ads popped up on, versus how many people have clicked your views. Right now we have 2 video campaigns going on right now at this cost, this many views, and how many people have viewed it. And it kind of tells you demographics of mobile phones. So you see here how the majority of people looking at their ads are through mobile. 93.4%, and only like 0.1 is TV screens. It's cool. I didn't notice that. But
which is strange because you don't have any TV ads.
Well, I think what it is people Chromecast, right? So what happens is if you're on YouTube, if you have a Chromecast, which is basically a cloud just little apparatus where you can kind of broadcast your YouTube video from your phone and it goes into your TV screen. And if you're running a Google ad, it'll pop as a YouTube ad. So that means 0.1% of people doing Chromecast probably saw it. So 5 cents went to that. But you see primarily how most of the people visiting it is from mobile phones rather than computers. So you can kind of look at the ad groups here. We don't have any ad groups set up right now, but if you have any ad groups that you'd want, it would appear here. And you have a video ad group here, and you can kind of see, click from here, you can kind of see all of the fun stuff. It's our actual ad here and all the keywords that we use and all of the metrics here about how many views we've had and so on and so forth. You can kind of play around with these options here about your audience, your demographics, so you can kind of pinpoint based on Google Ads who are the people who are looking at your ads. and from there you can kind of justify a niche as to what they are. There's so many options here. It would take me forever to go through all of these. So please take some time. YouTube's a great resource to look at this, and they'll go through each and every single one of them with you. Primarily for time's sake, the one that I'm going to help you guys out with right now is if you guys go to Tools and go to Keyword Planner. So notice how there's all this other fun stuff you can do. Like there's so much you can do with Google Ads. So primarily of Keyword Planner, you want to discover new keywords. So here, let's say I want to search up, let's say men's clothing. And I want to put jeans. Of course, you want to have better specific keywords. And then, actually, I'll do digital marketing. So I need a domain. I can't think of it off the top of my head. Digital marketing. Virtual reality. E-commerce. And then, so this is where it basically compares, uses your domain as a filter. So enter your domain name, obviously, and get results. So here, it gives you live bids of how much each of these costs. So the keywords you provided, these are the cost it is. Some keyword ideas for you as well. It provides them here for you as well. Give it a second to go down. So it gives you all of these numbers and all of the kind of the bid range from lowest to high. And if it's relevant, the ad impression share, if they have that data. And over here, it tells you basically how many searches a month that these things have, as well as the competition for it. So from here, you can kind of gauge which ones you want to go for. For my personal opinion, you want to go for a mix of high competitive, medium. Low is not really worth it. Medium and high are good. The reason why I say you want to mix of it is because high can really drive up your cost per click, and you don't want to burn out that, right? Because let's say, for example, remember if you guys go back to my previous way I set it up, we only have $16 a day for Google Ads. Meaning, if you decide to put e-commerce companies as a keyword in your ad group and someone clicks it, you get one click that day. And you have like $1.50 left for nothing because you can't bid and get this, provided it's the highest, right? So you want to have a mix of medium and high and go from there. Hopefully that helps out a little bit. Now, the one thing I want to show you guys out as well is if we take a look, if I put in Toronto, you're going to look at how all the numbers skyrocket. So look at this one, Toronto, $30 to 88 cents, the big scheme. And it depends on what you're searching Toronto, right? So this is just to showcase how the more surgical you are with your business and the more demanding it is, the harder it may be to have your ad pop up. So ideally, you want to kind of balance your bid amount with your quality score, which you can affect your quality score more by your health, your SEO health of your website. But this gives you a huge interface as to which keywords to search up. So if I want to pick up digital marketing, e-commerce, Toronto, and I want to use all of these, you can create a new ad group here and call it Spring Promotion 1. And when you create it, it'll appear in your ad group. And basically, you can select that ad group when you're doing your ad campaign and say, these are the keywords I want. And then it'll use those keywords to bid from there. The last thing that I want to show you guys on Google Ads.
Anthony, can I have a question?
Yeah. Yeah.
So in your case, how I understood, because since it's a very high competition for you, you have to increase the cost per day, correct? Like $16 might not work. You might have to do like, let's say 30, right?
Yes. But keep in mind, so what I do is I was focusing primarily on the highest range of the bid. The lower range can be $3, can be $4. It depends on that particular relevance of the search queue of what the person has searched, as well as your quality score and your bid amount. So just because you bid the max every time doesn't necessarily mean you'll be able to show up all the time. So you gotta, at the end of the day, there's so many different keywords for so many different businesses. I can't provide you with a benchmark of what you should be paying for. It provided me of $16 based on my keywords and based on my website that I put in. It would be different. It may be different for you. But yeah, on average, I like to look at what costs me the most because I like to think about the least extreme rather than be overly optimistic about how many clicks I get. Good question. I'm trying to see where I can find the homepage here. So that the aggregates can be found here. I'm trying to find a new campaign, but it's not popping up for some reason. So all campaigns are here. So yes, so these are all your campaigns show up here. So when I mentioned expert mode in the first page, if you click on new campaign, this is what expert mode would look like. So remember the first page I showed you guys, there were only 3 options. It was get more calls, have more people go to your website, and after the last one. Here, you're able to specifically pick out from all these 8 different options. So if you want to get more brand awareness, ad promotion, etc., you can pick it. So you go to leads. It kind of gives you in detail what kind of ads you want. So if you're looking to do any YouTube ads, video is where you go. And then YouTube ads, a whole other rabbit hole. All you gotta do is follow the prompts, and it's very user-friendly from that point onwards. But as you can see how it's kind of like a spider web, it spreads out, and I barely scratched the surface on Google Ads. If you guys are interested, definitely take a look at that. And YouTube, again, is a really wonderful resource for that. Are there any questions about Google Ads before I continue? Awesome. So with Facebook and Instagram ad buy, so how does it work? Again, it's an auction system, but because Facebook owns Instagram, they use a very similar algorithm and use the same 3 variables. They use these 3 variables to determine the ad's total value, or as the equivalent of Google's quality score. So it takes into account your bid amount, the estimated action rate, so which is based on Facebook or Instagram's algorithm, how likely is a user going to take action based on the ad that's presented to them, as well as the ad quality and relevance, which takes into account your picture quality, the relevance in meta title and description, as well as your business page in general. So we're going to go over ad buy in Facebook. So the first thing you want to do is you want to go to your business page. And as you can see here, I am on my business page. We're going to hit promote here. Okay. If it lets me click promote. As well, you can also do it individually by post. So if you want to boost a post here, you're able to do so as well. There's also the option to promote here as well. If this can... Just give it a second. Okay. So we're going to hit promote. Usually it won't take this long. Again, you see how right now we're all annoyed about this. This is why it's loading time for speeds is really important. But I think this is kind of just my internet. Essentially, when you do a promote, it provides you with an interface as to the ad center, where it provides you with all these goals that you want to choose from. So do you want to promote your business locally, promote a page, get more messages, etc.? You pick the one that you want to do the most, or the one that is most relevant to your strategy. And then from there, we're going to go to get more leads. And it's very similar to Google Ads. And you can just kind of go use save forms. So you can enter. So for this particular section of getting more leads, it'll provide you with a saved form and where you want to basically get the information. So you can create the form and you kind of input your full name, phone number, email, and the name as well, and any short answers, and you can go from there. So let's say I'm happy with this right as it is. We hit next. It'll provide you a preview, and this is where your meta description is, right? This is your meta description where you want to vary something for SEO. So you want to kind of change this up accordingly. It provides you a preview of how your ad looks like, as well as the number of people reach and potential leads. You can change a lot of things with the button label. So notice on the top right of the preview it says sign up. You can change this here to apply now or get quote, and it'll change it accordingly. And then you can change the budget as well, payment summary as well on the bottom here, how much you want to change. So it changes how many people you reach per day based on how much you spend and how long you want this to run on. You can also use Facebook Messenger if you want to place something on Messenger and Facebook. If you also wanted to, if you can put on Instagram as well, provided that I would not do this because the dimensions for the ad that you make for Facebook may not be the same as Instagram, so it's not as optimized. But if you're short on time, you can always select Instagram and go from there. Once you're done, you hit promote now, and you're good to go. Facebook Pixel is just a more detailed business suite for Facebook, which helps you out more with the Google ad. If you're more tech savvy, by all means, turn it on, and then you can try that out as well. I know we're a bit crunched on time, so I'm going to go through. We only have to go through Instagram, and we're almost done.
Anthony, quick question.
Yeah.
Can you just pick Instagram instead of both Facebook and Instagram?
Sorry?
Can you just pick Instagram only?
I haven't tried it, but let's try it out. It's not even letting me select. It's not even my Instagram right now.
Yeah, no.
No. I guess because, and again, I think the primary reason is because the dimensions of our ad doesn't fit Instagram, right? So then again, maybe that option is only available if it pertains to Instagram's dimensions as well.
So
yeah,
how would you do the dimensions which are suits the Instagram?
So what you would do is you'd refer to the dimension sheet provided in the improvement guide. And if you notice that the pixels for Facebook are different than Instagram, yeah. And then from there, you basically create, which is like A/B testing essentially, where you create the same content, but you just change the dimensions to fit Facebook and fit Instagram.
Okay.
And then you'll be able to do it. And then, yeah, that's how you would do that.
Got it.
Good question. So with Instagram, so you have to go onto your business page, essentially, and you select the post that you want to boost. And from here, you can kind of select, you want to select where you want to send people. Do you want to send people to your profile, your website, or do a direct message? And from you choose website, it gives you an option here to change the website to a different, like whatever site you want. And then you can select which one you want according to your strategy. From there, you can also change the action button that you want to do. So you want to learn more, shop now, et cetera, et cetera. You pick the one that's most relevant towards you. Next step here is defining your audience. So what's really neat here is that it provides you with, you're able to actually search up an audience based on the range of interests. So I just put in digital marketing, I believe, or digital. If you want, this is the way you do it manually. So you can change male or female and the age group from there based on your target market. You can also as well just do it automatically. The next step here is location. So you just select based on your current location or using an address or the radius, and it'll change the potential amount of people reached accordingly and give you a status bar as to how good that selection is. You can also select by region as well if you so choose so. It'll provide you a live update as well. And then after you've selected your audience and your location, I just need to input an audience name in this preview here real quick.
It's 10 o'clock.
What's that? Sorry.
No, Anthony, it was just my laptop says 10 o'clock.
Oh, okay. And then you from here, you define your audience. Back and go back. So you define your audience. So this is like your audience group here. Any kind of special requirements if you're looking for promotions for credit, employment, housing, and social issues. So there's a special requirement, and if you're doing any of these things here, that you'll have to kind of go through a bit more of a process. But otherwise, you're good to go. And then if you want to be automatic, you can just select this if you don't want to do it manually, as I mentioned before. And then once you've done that and you define your location, you select your budget and how long, and it'll kind of give you a generic estimate on reach and how much your budget should be. Play around with it based on how much you have available. It'll provide you with a review of your promotion and all of the settings you've changed. And then once you're done, you'll go through payment, enter your credit card, and create the promotion. And that's your Instagram kind of ad buy. You could, of course, for Facebook and for Instagram, you can check all of the insights on insights that we did that we showed last week in webinar 3. And for Google Ads, you can see it under the Google Ad Center. Aside from that, we have the usual resources available to you. So, like Larissa, as you said before, can this go? There we go. So before, if you need to start scheduling any kind of social calendar socials before putting on Hootsuite or scheduling, it's a good idea to kind of have it all done for a month and put it all here to see how it looks in a big picture. Larissa, you mentioned about how to know the dimensions for Facebook and Instagram. You can look at it on our improvement guide that's attached to our email, specifically, I believe, under references, if I'm correct. So page 50. As well, if you need BI support, you can reach out to Jason or myself, and as well as any kind of additional government benefits, you can click on this link here and kind of go through that process. If you want to see how this process, how it looks like, you can search up webinar 2 or 3 on the Downtown Brampton BI website, and I went through how to kind of go through that process. And next week we'll be going through imaging software, Canva, and Pixel. I know it's really content heavy this week. Are there any questions off the top of your heads?
I have a question.
Yep.
With Facebook, I don't want to do an ad per se, but I'd like to make sure that my posts reach people that like my page, and often it doesn't. So is that a boost then rather than an ad?
So boosting your post is similar to like the same thing as similar to an ad since you're paying money for it. But yes, boosting your post just means you're making that particular post seen by more people. An ad it'll say sponsored, and it'll be a specific call to action to have people do something. So if you want people to see if you just notice that a lot of your followers on Facebook aren't seeing what you're posting, then boosting your post is what you would do.
Exactly. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? All right. So yeah, next week, tune in for the imaging editing software. My colleague Quinn will be going through that with you guys.
I have one question. I was on
Yep.
mute. Sorry. Could you guys, I don't know if you have enough time to do this, but you had mentioned you can get a Google ad rep to help you with a Google ad buy.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, I just want to, sometimes people can hire somebody to do that because it seems, I'm sure for you guys, it's a lot easier than us listening to how you've just gone through this, but like how much would you typically pay, or could you give us an idea of, cost range that would be reasonable to do a Google ad buy?
Like, what do you mean in terms of paying like a media firm to do it for you?
Or, is it easy to do yourself? Yeah.
It's easy enough to do it yourself, honestly. But if it comes to the point where, like, if you're not getting the results that you want, or something that you just can't find out the reason why, then that's you either go to Google support and they can help you, or you bring on a media firm. So what I would do is, like I said before, is if you wanted to, we have, I forgot to add a slide there, but I'll just input it. I'll just show you guys here for my webinar 3. So this is the Google rep that you can reach out to, and then you guys can kind of contact him and say, hey, I'm doing my first Google ad campaign. You want to adapt your campaign and help you up all that kind of fun stuff. But the standard or benchmark is that you need to be spending at least $13 a day on Google Ads. That totals up to $390 a month in order to get that kind of support. If for a reason you're not able to reach him, what you can do as well is you can go to contact us for help. And this is how I actually got in touch with Jared as well. So you call this number and they basically tell you, we'll set you up with one of their reps and you can either chat with them as well. And that's how I actually got into contact with Jared, right? I told them about how, we're helping downtown rented businesses, et cetera, and he gave me his Google email for businesses to reach out to him.
Okay.
So that's your resource if you need any help with Google Ads. Because I know it's a lot of content and it can be overwhelming. If you want to just have someone help you guys out, call this number or just Google support ads, and then they'll provide you the same assistance or more personalized than my generic one today. Okay.
Okay. And just on that, you said that type of support is available if you're spending, you said $390 a month on Google.
$13 daily, which amounts to $390 a month, Canadian.
Okay.
Because primarily they're in US, so they'll give you a different number because they're in US. But we talked to them after, and again, it translates to $13 Canadian a day.
And then one more question: can you do an ad by what you're talking about for a whole year? So you say, okay, I want to spend $13 a day, or $390 a month, or $4,100 a year.
You set the duration for how long? Yeah, as long as the money doesn't run out, it'll slowly keep running.
Okay. And then you could sort of space it out on a monthly basis. You want to do $400 a month, and then you can change up your Google ad campaign every month.
You can change it every month, yeah.
Or every day. Okay.
I believe it's every month. Don't quote me on that. But there's so many things that you can kind of surgically change in your ad that the possibilities are endless. They can go through all the stuff with you. But what I would suggest is YouTubing. So when I first started doing Google Ads for myself, I'll show you the guy that helped me. You would search up. Ignore my Google search cues there. So you put in search bar, Google ad campaign tutorial. And from there, this 20-minute video, it gives 24-minute video. It gives you a step-by-step as to what you would need to know as a business owner, what you would need to know. Because a lot of this stuff is so surgical, it doesn't even matter in our context. For a bigger company, all of these points do matter. But I would definitely recommend just doing as an intro, finding something. Okay. Okay, great. Thank you.
Just a quick question, Anthony. Sorry, I'm not sure if you covered it, but is there any way to determine my SEO right now? Is there a quick analyzing tool?
Let me get back to you on that, because for my analysis, I've always done it through Yoast, and I've always done it through WordPress, and it gives you your overall SEO health. What you can do as well is you can always Google SEO health checker. There are some that aren't as reliable, but Googling is usually your best bet. But off the top of my head, Yoast is the one I rely the most because it provides you with the detailed what needs to be changed, what doesn't. Unfortunately, if you don't have WordPress, it won't give you the full web page one. But those two I rely on the most.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right. Well, I hope to see you guys next week. Like I said before, my colleague Quinn will be online next week to go over Canva and Pixel with you guys.
Great. I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for today's marketing webinar. There was a lot of content in here, and I advise everybody on today's call to take some time to do a little bit of homework. There, like Anthony had mentioned, you can do some YouTube searches, and there's a lot of how-to stuff that you can find, and also to look through the digital playbook that they've put together with all these tips in here. So lots of information, but super critical to keep yourself at the top with regards to SEO and what did you call it? Above the fold. Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you.
All right. Bye, guys.
Take care. Thank you.